Hey everyone, today is, oh my goodness, what day is it? It is Wednesday, April 29th. So I'm just coming on to say hello. I hope everyone's doing well. And I'm going to explain a little bit more of the project that I'm going to ask you to do next. So it is Wednesday, so that means this project is going to be due by end of day, so like midnight on Friday. Then you'll have the weekend, and on Monday I'll assign something new. So for this one, I totally forgot that normally what I would do in the beginning of a trimester is ask students to create a folder, and on that folder I have them draw things that they're interested in, so I kind of have an idea of who those students are, who you are a little bit better. So I realized that we haven't done that yet, so I'd like to get you drawing more, get you thinking more, and hopefully get to know each other a little bit better. So on this, I'm going to ask you to draw at least 4 things that you're interested in. So if I were to ask you, tell me a couple of things about yourself, what kinds of things would you include? Would you include your favorite kind of music or food, favorite activity to do outside or inside of school, if you have a sport that you play or an instrument that you play, if you sing, if you are super into video games or just hanging out, taking naps, talking to your friends on the phone, whatever it may be, whatever you're really into, that's kind of stuff that I would like to know about you and stuff that I would like you to draw about. So it's going to be at the very minimum 4 things. If you want to do 5, 6, 20, whatever you want to fit in there, whatever you want to express about yourself, that's fine. But I'm going to be looking for at the very least 4. So that's going to be one of the requirements. Another requirement for this project is instead of putting each thing in one corner of your paper, or if you're drawing digitally online, one corner of your page there, I want you to try to draw these things together combined. So I want them to interact. So if you think about it this way, I drew an example and it has some examples about things about me too. So I'm going to share those things with you. So on this, you can see that I apparently like something about trees, although we're not sure. It's just kind of a random tree. Here's a softball here. I coach softball at Elm Street. It's one of my favorite sports. There's a camera here, so I love taking photography. It's it's a passion of mine, and I also advise the photography club at school. So if you're at Elm Street next year, feel free to join. And I really like drawing, okay? So these are some no-nos. These are things I don't want you to do. That's why there's a big red X on here. I don't want you to put each of these things in 4 corners. I want them to interact, and I'll give you an example of that after this. Another thing is some of these aren't really drawn in. If I zoom in, you'll be able to see that there's still pencil marks here. If you still have pencil marks after you outline, I want you to get used to trying to erase those to really kind of level up your artistry and neatness. That's going to help your artwork. Another thing for artistry and neatness, which I'm really focusing on, is making sure that you're trying to color within the lines. And also, if you see here, you can see that there are some gaps here where it's not really colored in. So I want you to practice taking your time. I don't want you to do your artwork just to do it and get it done, okay? I want you to enjoy the process of being able to create something from nothing, right? Because before, this page looked like that. Absolutely nothing. So whatever you create, it's gonna be awesome. I want you to take your time to do that really well, okay? So here's another example of not erasing those pencil marks. And then another thing I don't want you to do is I don't want you to write words to describe what you like or what you're interested or what you're good at. You can write words if it's like a brand name of something, or if it helps you describe what you're drawing, that's fine. But writing the word isn't really going to work out, right? So if you really like soccer, draw a soccer ball or a goal or a field instead of just the word soccer, okay? So I want you to take these ideas. Sometimes it helps to write them down first so that you have a list and you know what you're working with. Instead of just like looking at a blank sheet of paper and saying, how am I going to put all these things that I like into one picture? We can kind of get stuck and it's tough to think about things. So sometimes writing things down will start to give you an idea of what that picture may look like in your head before you have to start drawing stuff down. So if you get stuck, write a list first. If you get super stuck, message me and I can help you brainstorm some ideas, okay? So instead of doing 4 corners, I want you to try to take your stuff and have them interact into one picture. So if you look at this picture here, this is very different. This is way more interesting to look at, right? I'm using the whole paper. I have everything colored in because I have color pencils. If you don't have color pencils or your style is not to color stuff in, coloring is not a requirement, but I want to make sure that you're putting the time into it still and use the whole page. So on here, you can see a few things. So I did more than 4 things. I have my little Dunks cup here. Love Dunks coffee, kind of miss it. I made my own, my little Batman mug. So coffee, I actually turned myself into a softball. So I put myself in there. You don't have to do that. I did. So I turned myself into a softball. I have red shoes that I wear a lot. I love photography, so I put myself holding a camera. On here, I drew the tree because I love tree. And if you notice about these leaves, they're fall colors and they're actually physically falling off the tree. So fall is my favorite season. And in the tree trunk, I snuck in some pencils to represent drawing because I love to draw. And then over here, I have my 2 cats. Gus is the orange cat. And then Bruce is the gray cat. And they're just kind of chilling with me right now. Maybe in one of the videos, I'll pick one of them up. So I have 2 cats at home, Bruce and Gus. So that's my picture. Way more interesting to look at than this. I think we can all agree on that. So in an art class, I want you to push yourself to make an actual piece, to make something cohesive, to work on that composition, right? We talked a little bit about composition during the color wheel exercise on figuring out how to place things and make it look nice. This, super boring. Don't do this. Try something like this, okay? And I understand that I'm an art teacher. I draw all the time. Some of you obviously don't have that experience, but I want you to do the best that you can. So I knew that I was going to talk a little bit about patience and effort. Patience and effort is super important in an art class because it shows me that you're trying the best that you can. Sometimes we don't always draw the same. I know we never always draw the same. That's the nice thing about art. Some people have a skill level up here. Some people have a skill level down here just naturally. That's totally fine. What I want you to focus on is if you're at this level, I want you to focus on getting a little bit better with that artistry and neatness, making sure you're erasing those extra pencil marks, making sure that you're coloring within the lines, maybe slow down a little bit when you're coloring. So I want you to just work on that improvement piece. For those that are up here, if you find that these projects are too easy or not challenging enough, as long as you're hitting those minimum requirements, I want you to feel free to make these projects your own. So if you think that 4 things that you like is just a little bit, like I said, add some more stuff. That's totally fine. Add things, have fun with it, put yourself in there, maybe turn yourself into, like for mine, I turned myself into softball. Turn yourself into the pencils too. Turn yourself into the tree. Turn yourself into whatever you want. Honestly, sky's the limit. It's art. You can pretty much do whatever you want as long as you're doing the best that you can, putting in the effort, being patient with yourself, and obviously as long as it's school appropriate, you're totally fine, okay? So I'm gonna write all this stuff up, but remember, no 4 corners, no writing stuff, erase your lines, color within the space, okay? Use the whole page and make sure you're having fun with it, all right? If you have any questions or you're still having a hard time, if you're still having a hard time uploading pictures or anything like that, please let me know. I know there are a couple kids that I'm working on to get some advice out there for you. But continue to do good work. Check in with me, and I hope you're all doing well and enjoy the sunshine today. Bye, everyone.